Hey there guys, this is Cole. Welcome back to another video. Unfortunately, I have to redo this video because I got a call and it ruined the video, so I got to restart it unfortunately. But today's video I'm going to be doing is my top 5 favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. Now, Jean-Claude Van Damme is one of my favorite action movie stars, so let's just not waste any more time and get into this. Coming in at number 5 for me is going to be Time Cop, released in 1994, directed by Peter Hyams. And what's really cool about this movie is how it's basically a sci-fi action movie where you have Jean-Claude Van Damme, who plays this character by the name of Max Walker, who basically works for like a group of these cops that basically use time travel to stop criminals and stuff like that. And that right there is an awesome concept for a movie. I think that the action scenes are really good. I think that the actor who played the villain was really good. There's a lot of good practical effects. And fun fact, of the movies where Jean-Claude Van Damme plays the main character, this was actually his highest grossing movie, making $230 million worldwide on, I think, like a $40 million budget. I could be wrong on the budget, but it was his most successful movie. So I'm quite honestly surprised that they never did any sequels to this with Van Damme, which I know back in 2003 there was like a direct-to-video sequel for this movie called Time Cop to Berlin Cop. I think that was the name of it. I never saw that sequel, although I heard it was decent. But Time Cop, the movie with Van Damme, awesome movie. And just, yeah, I would highly recommend it to action movie fans and fans of 90s cinema. So, yeah. Coming in at number 4 for me is going to be Nowhere to Run. And what I like about this movie is how this 1993 action movie, it's basically about a prisoner by the name of Sam Gillen, played by Jean-Claude Van Damme, who basically escapes a bus and he rides a cool motorcycle, and basically he decides to hide at a family's farm where you have these 2 little kids and a mother. And I think that the action scenes are really good in the movie. I really like Sam Gillen as a character. The whole scene where he has to leave at the end is pretty emotional. And I really like the bad guy in this movie, Mr. Dunstan, who's actually played by Ken Levine, who played Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs, which is a phenomenal movie. But yeah, just great movie all the way around. Coming in at number 3, and I know this is the typical answer for the best Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, but it's not quite mine, but it's still a really good movie. And coming in at number 3 is the 1988 martial arts movie Bloodsport. Basically picture a rated R version of the Karate Kid, but if you had an adult character as the lead, basically, messing people up at this martial arts tournament called Bloodsport as the title of the movie. And I think that the action scenes are really well shot. I really like the main character, Frank, played by Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's easily one of the best characters that Van Damme has ever played, and this is really the movie that put Van Damme on the map. Like, this was really his big premiere movie that made him as well known as he is today for good reason. And yeah, just great movie all the way around. And I know that A24 is doing a remake of this movie, which, why? We don't need that, but Bloodsport, great movie. Coming in at number 2 is actually going to be a Hard Target, which this right here is actually my friend, Zach D Productions. This is actually his favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, and I can see why. It's a really good movie, and this right here has one of the coolest movie taglines of all time on a poster. Don't hunt what you can't kill. I mean, come on, that right there is a pretty cool tagline for a poster. And this movie was directed by John Woo, who prior to this was known for doing these really popular Hong Kong action movies like The Killer, A Better Tomorrow, Hard Boiled, pretty good movies. But this was really this is the first American movie he directed. And wow, what a way to start his career. Not as a Hong Kong filmmaker, because he started off as a Hong Kong filmmaker, but pretty good start for an American director. And, he transitioned to Hong Kong to America. And of course, this movie was a big hit at the box office. And after this, John Woo would go on to direct other movies like Broken Arrow from 1996 with John Travolta and Christian Slater, which I love that movie. He also directed the 1997 action movie Face Off with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, which I absolutely love that movie. In fact, Face Off is actually my favorite John Woo movie, but this would if I were to do a list of the top 5 best John Woo movies, this would definitely be in the top 3. And what I like about this movie is how it's a rather simple action movie where you basically have where our main character by the name of Chance, played by Jean-Claude Van Damme, is the target of an evil mercenary by the name, and the evil mercenary is named Emile, who is actually played by Lance Henriksen, who I really like as an actor. You know, prior to this, he played Bishop, one of the characters in the 1986 movie Aliens, which was really the last good movie in the Alien franchise, if I'm being perfectly honest. But yeah, so it's cool to see him play a bad guy here. I think that the action and slow-mo scenes directed by John Woo are really going to just, yeah, great movie. And I first saw this movie in 2021 when it was free on Tubi, and I liked the movie so much that I bought it on DVD, and I've watched this movie multiple times since then. But yeah, great movie. And for me, coming in at number 1, this is really the movie that made me a big Jean-Claude Van Damme fan. Universal Soldier, released in 1992, directed by Roland Emmerich. I mean, this right here is an awesome movie where you basically have like this program where you have like these I don't want to give away too much for those who haven't seen it. All I'm going to say is that it's a really good sci-fi action movie where you have Jean-Claude Van Damme as the main character, GR44, and you have the bad guy of the movie, Andrew Scott, played by Dolph Lundgren. And I think that Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren were a great combo in this movie, especially Dolph Lundgren as the villain, like Andrew Scott. Like, he is just ruthless as the villain in this movie. Willing to, like he's not afraid to get dark for a villain. I will say that. And my dad first showed me this movie in 2019 when it was free on Hulu in 2019, which is when my dad showed it to me, and I've loved this movie ever since then. And yeah, they did the sequels to this movie, which I'm not a fan of, but the first movie is awesome, and it is easily my favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. And it's my second favorite movie Dolph Lundgren has done behind Rocky IV. But yeah, great movie all the way around, and it comes in at number 1. So yeah. Anyways, guys, that was my list of my top 5 favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. I want to hear your guys' list in the comment section down below. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye now.